Hello and welcome to Mo Volleyball. Today we're going to do a player analysis on the outside hitter for Team USA, number 23, Kelsey Robinson. Here are some facts on Kelsey, plus her career timeline. Press pause on the video if you'd like to read it. Kelsey is a very skilled outside hitter, so there's a lot that we could learn from her. We're going to play a few clips here, then we're going to do the analysis.
More like it from the United States. Still slowed down. Nice.
The first thing you'll notice about Kelsey is she has a very high blocking IQ. You can see her here in the beginning of the play, starting with her hands up around her chest at the net. She does this in case the middle goes in for a quick set in the middle of the court or behind the setter. In that instance, she would want to have her hands up to get them up quickly. As the play develops here, she brings the hands down. She notices that the middle is not going in for a quick set and that she's going in for a slide. When the middle goes for a slide, she knows she has to do a three-step crossover, and she's got to swing her arms back and up, so she drops her hands down. Next thing she does very well here is once the set goes to the outside, she shuffles off the net 3 steps without crossing her legs. Because she's a little inside, she gets her hands up early, as she knows that from this angle the ball will be hit towards her head. She's able to anticipate that early because of her positioning, and that's something you develop with time and experience. That move right there is essential for every outside hitter. When you're in an off-blocker situation, you want to prioritize depth in your transition rather than width. Sometimes you're not going to be able to get all the way out. So it's more important that you get deep. That way you can keep the ball in front of you. So her first step is open. Her next step is going to be a crossover, and then she's going to jump and turn. We call that a 4-4 transition. 4 steps off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 steps to approach. Now, if on your team you are running a higher set than Kelsey's hitting a nice tempo set to the outside. If you're hitting a higher set, you would have time right now to take an extra shuffle off the court. But since she's running a little bit of a faster set, she needs to start her approach earlier. And you can see here she really prioritized depth rather than width. A lot of times at the junior level, you'll see players coming in this way too much and then having to jump sideways, losing some momentum. So you can see she angles her approach this way so she can get her last 2 steps around the sideline. Because this is a good dig, she knows she has to be on her second step by the time the ball is in the setter's hands. If this were to be a bad dig, or if it was a libero setting, a high set, she would need to be on her first step when the ball is set. So this is a second step set. Some people call it a tempo, some people call it go. Another thing you see at the junior level, a common mistake, is taking this first step too big and too fast. You can see on those first 2 steps, she's almost walking into her approach. A lot of times, you'll see younger kids going in way too fast. You really want to slow down the first steps of your approach. Even though she's going in for a faster set, she's still approaching slow to fastest. Here's another play. Now there's 3 hitters. Her priority is this hitter here. She knows that if middle were to go in for a quick set, she would need her hands up. She would need to shuffle block and get her hands up fast. As the play develops, she recognizes that the middle is going in for a gap set, so that is not her responsibility. So she could bring her hands down. Really high IQ play here, where she notices the hitter is not hitting the ball, not even jumping. So even though she brings her hands up, she pulls them down. There's no reason to block this ball. You see a lot of players try to block this and they get tooled. And even the middle here sees it, doesn't even jump. You want to prioritize hitting in this situation. These are easy balls to dig. So what we want to do here is definitely get off the net faster and get ready to attack. Like we said earlier, if she's hitting a higher set, she needs to be on her first step when the ball is set. Same open cross jump turn from the net, and starts her approach on the set very slowly. This here is really nice where she goes off speed, but it looks like she's going full speed. This is what catches the defense off guard. You'll see a lot of players don't swing their arms way back here like they're about to jump high and hit hard. What you'll see is when they're going off speed, they barely bring the arms back, maybe even slightly bent. And then their elbow isn't able to get all the way back. So it's much easier to read those off speed shots. But here, she really sells it like she's going to hit hard and then changes the pace. Now in this situation, in a don't pass situation, you would actually want to shuffle 2 times. But because she's running a faster set to the outside, she only has time for 1 shuffle. They're in a good pass situation, so she needs to be on her second step when the ball is set. And this is a really good example of how to slow down in the beginning of your approach. And she's walking into those first steps. Then she goes slow, faster, fastest. Look at the angle of her approach here. You can see her going this way. Again, common mistake I see is hitters go in too much and then have to readjust sideways. Very hard to keep the ball in front of your hitting arm. Very hard to stay in acceleration when you're jumping. The last thing here is the cross-body attack. Normally you would want to rotate all the way through. But you can see that this set is going wide. And when the set goes wide, if you rotate all the way through your hit, the ball ends up here. So because it's wide, she can't turn her whole body, but she still follows through. She swings cross body to keep it inside the court. Very high level play. There's a lot that we can learn from her, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned a lot.